Anthony, I got to wrap this, buddy. We know you got things to do. I just want to wish you luck. Now, you know I stay out of your wheelhouse, and I'm one of your biggest fans, but I'm going to give you the great advice that Clayton Hires gave me, which when you're in a fist fight, hit him and don't let him hit you. And by the way, I should give a shout out to your opponent, whose name is, in the words of The Rock, it doesn't matter what his name is, jabroni. We will see you in the Octagon Saturday. What's happening, guys? Welcome to another episode of Good Guy, Bad Guy. I am the bad guy, Chael son, and he is the good guy, allegedly. Daniel Cormier. Daniel, before we get started, can I tell you, I'm right in the middle of something over here. I got hacked yesterday. I have an app called Cameo where people like pay some money and you tell them happy birthday, something along these lines, but it accumulates some dollars and cents. A guy went in and he took it all. That guy found me today over another app called WhatsApp. Let me know I'm a really good hacker. I got access to a lot of your and your mom's stuff, and as proof that I'm a good hacker, I'm the one that took your $3,500 from Cameo yesterday. Would you like to talk? And I said, yup, I sure would. And that's where I'm at right now. He actually comes off as a pretty cordial guy, but he's working the whole, my mother's in the hospital.
He's trying to scam you, right? He's going to scam you for your money. He's going to say, hey, I took $3,500, but I want more for me to give you all your stuff back. But he'll come back. So it explains. It's
what he's doing right now. He's laying the groundwork right now, complete with the mother in the hospital where he needs the funds. Thus, he's actually the hero of the story. That's where we're at as we speak.
That makes me very, very sad for you. Because I was thinking that you were having a pretty decent day because it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Do you remember Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? Because you threw on that cardigan this morning, and I said, wow, is this Chael Sonnen or Mr. Rogers? Dude, I cannot believe what a beautiful sweater you're wearing right now. What is going on?
I appreciate that. It's very cold in this house. I have heat, like I can turn heat on, but we don't. Our house is heated by the fireplace, and the fireplace is out. And I must tell you, it's rather chilly in the Sonnen household.
It's still cold outside. I was trying to clean my cold plunge. I was dripping the water out. It's like literally 50 degrees in California right now.
What are you doing a cold plunge for? Somebody convinced you that if you're cold, it makes your body better? Why? Why would that make your body better to be cold?
It literally helps my back. When I go and I sit in there for 3 minutes, it helps my back as my day. What'd you say?
Placebo. That's a placebo. Why would being cold help you with anything? Nobody wants to be cold. We have been fighting as a race, as mankind. We have been fighting for warmth. Our entire existence. True. In fact, one of the few reasons that we still exist is because we found warmth.
Yeah, we started to make fire. That's true. And that's not bullshit, right? That's not bullshit. You're telling the truth. It's not bullshit. But at times, we got to whip it out, Chael. We got to whip out the BS meter, man. We have to whip out the BS meter. And it seems, my friend, like it's literally hitting the top right now because right now you have been on an absolute tear. The NFL draft is about to happen. Adam Schefter carries multiple phones because teams are calling him. They're just dropping news. You, my friend, are the Adam Schefter of the UFC. First, you said some stuff last week, which I'll get to, or earlier in the week. But then not even 20 minutes ago, I mean, we're just about to go on the show, and you drop that Islam Makhachev and Justin Gaethje is done because your second phone rang and you got the call. Why, Chael? Why have you become the all-in source for all news in mixed martial arts right now? And why do they trust you, considering you just tell everybody?
Okay, now here's what you have to understand. I am not a journalist. Now, the only reason I say that is if this was Ariel would get the information, but then he'd verify it and re-verify it before he brought it out. I'll do one level of verification, and then I just start talking. And there is a difference in that. But Daniel, what am I supposed to do? I get a call from a source who's never been wrong. Now, my source, who I will protect, works for a little startup company, a little ma-and-pa sports organization located in Bristol, Connecticut, operating under the initials of ESPN. I didn't just get a call from somebody. I got a call from a guy who works with the guy. He tells me two things, but one, he tells me that there is no way. Ilia Topuria is off the shelf, and he got into great detail with somebody that's helping to facilitate that Okay, I believe that part of it. Artem is off the table. Max and Dustin, we both know are spoken for in that capacity, and it leaves you by process of elimination with Justin Gaethje, not to mention we got 9+ weeks to International Fight Weekend, unless you want to bring in an interim championship, which is being rumored. That is being rumored strongly. Kyle Browse even offering to be one half of that, just for example. But unless you want to bring an interim championship, which they don't. They don't want to bring an interim championship to the fight weekend. Sometimes you're forced to. 55 is the place to do it. You need an opponent for Islam, and Gaethje, I'm being told, is the guy.
So much is happening in this regard, because I saw something yesterday that said it's either defend or be stripped for Islam. So there's no truth
I heard
to
that too, but there's no way that's true. Nobody would dare cross King Khabib. No way. Not in this. And they wouldn't even, when Khabib tried to give his own damn belt back, they wouldn't accept it. He was shoving it in their face, and they wouldn't put their hands on it. So they're not going to take it off of his heir apparent. That's not going to happen.
Okay, so that's out. That's so it's
unless Islam. But by the way, the only thing that Islam wants to do, the only thing Islam has ever told us, he's never asked for anything, not for money, for dates, for card placements, or opponents. He's asked for one thing, which is he'd like to be a 170 pounder. He don't want to be at 55 anymore. And now that you open a precedence and you let a 45 pounder no longer be a 45 pounder, it gets a little hard to tell Islam he's got to beat the only thing he's got problems with, which is the scale. So, you can call it a stripping, I guess. They're trying to insist to us that Ilia Topuria vacated the title. I'm willing to play along, but they only vacated the title because they say he vacated the title. If you look at the actions of what actually happened, he was stripped.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so I am supposed to now, this is how this works, right? I'm supposed to say BS or I believe you. I'm calling BS, man. I'm calling BS. Yo,
you would know.
It's just too much too soon. Like, it's like happening too fast. And I just can't imagine a guy, you're a journalist. Like, you could say you're not. You're a journalist because you keep breaking news, man. You don't like, yes, I'm calling BS because a couple days ago, you said this. So, Chael, are you breaking news right now that Jon Jones is fighting Tom Aspinall at International Fight Week? Are you confident enough to say that you think that's what's happening?
No, I am confident enough to tell you that fight is done, though. That fight is agreed all the way down to the date.
Okay. So, you said that. You said that Jones and Aspinall to the date is done. Yeah. You said Jones versus Aspinall to the date is done. But then the next day, the very next day, Chael, you tell me Aspinall's fighting Cyril Gane for the interim title.
The current plan right now, Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? For the interim championship.
So, like, how am I supposed to believe you? Like, I live by what you tell me. And so on Monday, you tell me Jones is fighting Aspinall. And by Tuesday, you're telling me Aspinall's fighting somebody else.
Okay. It's not as hard to reconcile as you might think. Like, if you ask me right now what time it is, and I tell you it's 10 o'clock, but you ask me in 3 hours what time it is, and I give you a different time. I mean, not for nothing. I'm only as good as the information that I have when I have it. Look, let me give you the timeline.
Okay, go.
Dana White confirmed, and this was the night that we saw Pereira fight Ankalaev. He confirmed that Aspinall Jones have come to terms. The phone is down, that deal is done. Details are pending, but the deal is done. Now, I thought it was very relevant. I'm reading into this, but I believe all along that Pereira was the one that was going to be used on the chessboard. If Pereira would have beaten Ankalaev, we now no longer need Jon Jones, or at least in a negotiation standpoint, could have acted as though we no longer need Jon Jones, which is what I believe Jon Jones was told, which is why I believe that deal got done just prior to those guys making the walk. Whether I have that right or not, that's what I believe. But coming out the other side of it, and even subsequent to the announcement by Dana, we find out from Jon Jones that he needs 180 days. And it's not just 180 days from the time the fight is agreed to. It's 180 days from the day the bout agreement is signed. So let me lay out a scenario for you. The UFC could get organized. They could play the venue game. They could get yeses over the telephone. They could fax the paperwork. If Jon decides to wait a week or 10 days to go in the office and sign that paperwork, the 180 days, per his own rules, that clock doesn't start. So now what I'm being told is to hell with it. You can have your 188 days, but Tom Aspinall, who has to fight to get a prize, we're going to move on with it in the form of Ciryl Gane. I don't like it. I actually have a really hard time believing it. I'm just sharing for you. I was told this on very good authority. And moreover, my authority also said that they would not strip Jon Jones, that they would defend the interim championship. Now, I'm happy to tell you that, yes, I said those words, but I went on to say, I personally don't believe that. I personally do not believe Tom Aspinall is going to make that walk for anything, and he will make that walk absent of Jones, but he will not make that walk absent of the undisputed title. So I put out the information, but I will admit for you, I'm light on it. I think that it's a stretch, but something is going on. At a minimum, we can agree on that.
Okay. That's a lot to unpack. Okay, one, I understand. The information you had on Monday was what you had. I get it. I believe it. So what happened to that date? Do they just remove Jones and insert Ciryl Gane?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. And it sounded like sooner rather than later. And again, both of the stories, both the Islam Gaethje and the Ciryl Tom, both had a target of International Fight Weekend.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking when you said that. Interim heavyweight championship, because there's only 9 weeks to International Fight Week and they need a main event. That is why I'm not calling bullshit on this one. I'm actually going to I'm going to rock with you on that one, because I think International Fight Week needs a fight. And to put Tom Aspinall, Ciryl Gane in there, put another title fight under it, it doesn't have to be as big. That's very believable, because I have seen at times where, hell, the BMF belt was created because they needed a fight to headline Madison Square Garden. They obviously need a fight to headline International Fight Week. Here's my issue with that. It creates more problems, potentially, Chael, because Tom Aspinall is primed to fight Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall seems like a guy that can fight Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones may be the biggest fight we can make today because of the belief that Tom can beat Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane have this beef going back years. Ciryl Gane beats Tai Tuivasa in Paris. No sells Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane no sells Tom Aspinall while he's sitting right next to the cage. Tom doesn't seem to want to fight him. But bigger than all of that is the fact that Jon beat Ciryl Gane in 1 minute and 9 seconds. What if he wins? Everything's off the table. That's my problem. Because you don't want Ciryl Gane, who is still one of the best heavyweights in the world. He's as talented as anyone. He can beat anyone. He goes and he beats Tom Aspinall. Now you never get Jones fighting Aspinall. You want Aspinall, if he does get exposed, to happen in the Octagon with Jon Jones. You don't want it to happen before, Chael. And that's why I have a problem with this, because it just creates more problems for me.
And we've seen that risk, right? I mean, if you remember, Aspinall wasn't the guy. Sergey Pavlich was the guy.
Yes, he was.
Sergey went out, got his chin tested in a very similar scenario where they just didn't want to wait, so they got on with it. I mean, I'm very light on it. It's not like Jones and Ciryl's a huge fight, not to mention if you're interim championship, but it's one of those things where I just don't think the risk is there. And you make a great point. You couldn't use it as a semifinal. I mean, if Ciryl Gane gets the belt, there is no scenario where they put Ciryl Gane and Jones in the cage together, unless they're going to put Francis and Derek Lewis as the co-main event, and they're going to have Rose versus the Cookie Monster open the night. I mean, it just isn't going to happen. It's a lot to buy. And if a guy just simply won't play ball, it's the entire reason we came up with an interim championship. The whole idea of, my shoulder hurts or I don't feel good, those were byproducts that came in later, but we came up with an interim championship as a way of when we got to strip a guy because he's a closet champion. And if you're demanding too much money or too much time or a combination of those things, if you've got any answer that comes out of your mouth other than yes, you're a closet champion. And within my own story, that's the part I have the hardest part reconciling. I just don't think that the UFC is going to let this young kid who served more suspension time than me call the shots. I don't think they're going to do that. But the way this story plays out, that's exactly what would have to happen.
Yeah. And I mean, Tom Aspinall has already defended the interim title. You can't have a guy just defending an interim belt while you have an actual undisputed champion in Jon Jones.
Not to mention, you do see the irony, right? Like, if you're trying to get Jon to the table, you don't get him to the table by letting him call the shots. It's just the opposite. You strip him, so now he has something to fight for. Now he has a reason. Like, those titles and that legacy really does matter to Jon Jones. He's beaten up enough men and he's stacked up enough money. He's chasing something different. And that is what is greatly the irony of the whole situation, is getting on with it and getting on in an interim fashion as a way of pleasing Jon to get Jon to do what you want isn't the way to get him. If you want him, have him fight something. And by the way, he's got it. The belt, take it off him. It's your belt. Take it back. It's not a universal belt. It's not a real thing. This got tested in a court of law. Dana White versus BJ Penn. The year was, I believe, 2006. It's your belt. The Montreal screw job was right. Bret Hart screwed Bret Hart. It was Vince's belt, and he wanted it back. Take the son of a bitch back. And while we're doing it, give it to me for a while. What about me? What about the linear champion? I ripped off Jon Jones's toe. I threw it into the second row. Kids were horrified. To this day, Jon has to delay fights because he's got to get his training. He's got to get everything just right because I maimed him. I am the linear champion. Where is my recognition, Daniel?
The UFC is in Kansas City this weekend. Oh, my God. Chael, if there's a place worse than Atlantic City, it's Kansas City. But listen, dude, talk about a place where they just win and it makes you just hate them. They win too much. But UFC's in Kansas City. We're joined by our friend Anthony Smith, who is fighting there in what will be his final fight. Anthony, you know, and Chael will, attest to this. There aren't many guys that we ask for an interview, and we don't wonder if they're going to say yes or no. You will show up, Anthony. You have no choice. You like those ESPN checks? We call, you answer. I don't care if you're sleeping. I don't care what he doing, Chael. We said, Anthony Smith, we want an interview. Anthony's like, yo, man, I just woke up. We don't care. We don't care. You work for ESPN, Anthony. You like them checks?
That's fine. I like those checks, so I'll keep showing up. I don't mind you guys so much either, so it's okay.
Thank you for joining, my brother. We appreciate you, man. How you feeling?
I feel good, man. The week has been fun. As fun as it can be for a fight week, but I'm enjoying it. And just grinding, man, trying to get this weight off and just hanging out.
Anthony, how is your weight, man? You look big and strong right now. What are you weighing?
I was 217 this morning.
Ooh, that's good. That's right on the number. 11 pounds?
Yep.
Haven't even started the weight cut yet.
So we're right on track.
If I'm being honest, like I saw Anthony in Mexico and he was wearing this nice suit, and I kind of had forgotten the fight was coming up. I was wondering why that suit fit so good, Anthony. It was been good. That double-breasted one, was that in Miami or was that in Mexico?
That was in Mexico City.
That double-breasted one was hitting nice. I can't wear that. I might look pregnant. Hey, when I wear a double-breasted suit, I look pregnant.
Anthony, there is a common belief, okay, that there's two ways to make a hamburger, that you can grill it or fry it, but there's actually a third way, and it's called a Kansas City burger, and what they do is they put the patty on the spatula, they keep it there, they dip it in the hot oil, put the cheese on, put it in a bun. You don't use mayonnaise because you have so much grease. But with that said, even in Kansas City, it's very hard to find a Kansas City burger. So I know you're going to be going through some hunger phases as this fight gets closer. If there's any chance you find an authentic Kansas City burger, please get it. And please tell me how it is.
I'll do that. I'll call you, Chael. I'll FaceTime you. We can eat it together.
I would like that.
Anthony, you see, that's the problem. That's the problem with Chael and I's show. They're in the chat going, guys, focus.
It's fine.
They're like, focus.
It's fine.
This is better, though. You don't want to just do media all week. Okay.
No, I'm here to hang out.
Hey, all right, we're going to do the dance. Let's do the dance. So, Anthony, you're on the verge of your last fight, man. How the emotions? Because you and I were speaking in Mexico, right? That's the difference in being friends with someone where you can be open with me and honest about where you are in your career. You have a big career after fighting, so there is no worry in that regard. But how are you feeling in terms of the emotions that goes into what you know will be your last fight?
You know, it's easy to keep the sad, negative, unhappy or sad that it's ending feelings away. When you have such a monster in front of you, there's two things that are happening this weekend. I'm fighting and retiring, but one of those things has to happen before the other. So, and this kid's tough, man. If I take my eye off the ball, he'll put me out. So, I'm actually having a lot of fun though, DC. Like, I'm just focusing on being in the moment. And Mark Montoya used to talk about enjoy the process, don't focus so much on the finish line. And I always kind of blew him off, like, yeah, coach, whatever. But now I've really kind of embraced that almost accidentally. I'm just enjoying hanging out and being here. I got a lot of friends here that are here already, and it's kind of just it feels like kind of like a training trip where we train at night and we hang out, they eat food, and then we just go to sleep and wake up and do it again. I don't know, I'm actually enjoying being able to kind of have the last of every fight week.
Hey, Anthony, very heavy question, but it was a storyline going into your last fight. You had lost your coach, who also served as a mentor. Anthony, who filled that role? Who is now in that corner spot?
Well, I think in a lot of sense in the way that you're asking it, I kind of had to do that myself, because I kind of took on a lot of the roles that he played in terms of the jiu-jitsu community in Omaha. But Mark Montoya has always been a great mentor. I've leaned a lot into my friends, and Scotty's almost childhood best friend has been a part of my life since I met Scott, and he's here with me too. So it's I got a bunch of extensions of Scotty here with me for sure.
This is a fantastic fight card in Kansas City. And you being one of the headliners, you're fighting a young guy. You said he's tough. He's undefeated, 3-0 in the UFC. Anthony, when we retire, right, especially when you've had a career like you've had, you have an idea of who's going to stand across that octagon from you. Like, it'll be somebody, or you romanticize this great fight, someone that you look up to. When you think about this being it and you see this kid, like, could you ever imagine it would be a young guy like that, an up-and-coming guy?
No. These things, well, possibly. These things go two different ways. It's you get a young up-and-coming monster, or you get like a kind of a legacy fight with another kind of aging guy in the division. Typically, it's the former of that. So I expected it to be someone young, probably, but I had no idea who this kid was. And that's not me being disrespectful. I just literally never heard his name before. But as I watched him real quick, like, I appreciate his style and the way that he fights. He's got a little bit of an old school kind of just set your feet and throw him kind of game. And I kind of appreciate that.
Can I say something? Chael and I still don't know who he is. Hey, I don't know, Chael. Who's Zhang Minyang? Chael, who is that Zhang Minyang?
I couldn't say his name until this
Chael,
week.
who's that, Chael?
Man, I'm sure he's a perfectly nice guy. He is my least favorite person right now. Okay,
Yes, he is.
That's just the truth. And by the way, I'm going to remind you of something. This is not the first time that Anthony's put in there with some young up-and-comer that's undefeated. And this guy will find out like the last guy. If you can't breathe, you can't fight.
Nope, you can't breathe, you can't fight. Anthony, hey, we are not supposed to pick, but I'm picking. I'm picking because I ain't got to call the fight, so lucky me, I can openly root for you as you head into this. You have fought the best of the best. You have fought young guys. You fought up-and-coming guys. You have fought and won big fights. You've lost big fights. That fight with your coach when you were in there crying, dude, it was one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my entire life. But through all of that, when you look back and reflect on the career, what can you say as the guy that has fought so many times it's ridiculous and had to get there, not be there, get back there, and have a second career that's been much more successful and much more memorable than your first UFC stint?
I think everything comes down. I've said this over and over and over all week. I'm not a great athlete, DC. I was never really that good at anything. I was like an okay wrestler, was okay at football. Like I didn't stand out at anything. And when I came into this, I sucked really bad at this too. Like I didn't have a great wrestling background. I had a couple chokes from the bottom, but I had the willingness to stand in there, not shy away from hard things. So my entire career has been based off of my effort. I have tried so goddamn hard to just win. That's all, and that's all it's been about is I just try really hard. So maybe I didn't win a world title, and maybe I'm never going to go into the Hall of Fame, but God damn it, I tried. I tried really hard, and if that's the last thing or the only thing that people say about me, I'm good with that.
Anthony, I swear to God, I say the same thing. And guess what? Chael made fun of me for it. Chael, because Chael was a great athlete. Chael was an All-American and all this other stuff in wrestling. So when I said, dude, I just tried really, really hard, he made a shirt of me and said, oh, this guy just tried really, really hard. So Chael really is that 80s bully. And you remember O'Doyle Rules? That one dude, O'Doyle Rules? Chael was like that guy.
We can't all start on third base athletically like Chael P.
Like Chael.
Like not some of us, like people like Chael, are born great. The rest of us got to work hard.
Anthony, so Chael got it all, right? So like you're mixed, right? So you get the black, you get the white. Chael's like the white guy that has all the black genes. So he gets the joy of living as a white man, but he can have all of the skills and gifts that we have athletically. Anthony is like, Chael is just the luckiest guy on the planet.
It seems unfair. It seems unfair, doesn't it?
Unfair.
You guys are too much. You know, DC, one of my favorite Anthony stories, Anthony used to go to a park and this cop had to come down there and the cop had to break it up. Anthony was always into something and the cop would see him and go, oh, like you're only going to break Anthony Smith up if Anthony Smith agrees to let you break him up. Then one day Anthony becomes an adult. He and the cop become buddies. And I'm just sharing that story with you because I think it speaks to a lot of Anthony. It's one of my favorite stories. I've told it before. And he thought I was teasing him, but I don't say it to embarrass him. I love that part of the story. Some people have to learn themselves. Some people have to grow up themselves. If you grow up from a troubled kid into Anthony Smith, you're a success. Martial arts worked for you.
Yeah.
100%. And I'm still really great friends with that guy. We're business partners. We're raising cattle together. It's a full circle moment.
You know, man.
And weird. And kind of weird.
It's very weird. You probably was so bad. Every time he saw you, like, oh, here come that little bad kid. That's exactly what they would say about me, too. He's so bad. Look at him.
See, he just don't do nothing.
He don't do nothing right. Look at him with his little bad ass.
Hey, when are we going to Lafayette? You keep talking about it. When are we going?
Listen, there's potential for a fight in New Orleans. When we do that, I will then get us a car to drive us down to Lafayette, to my hometown. If you're in New Orleans too, Chael, you're welcome. I mean, you will fit right in, Chael, with the rest of the people that Anthony and I will hang out with. Anthony, I kind of mentioned the big career after fighting. You spoke a little bit about that earlier in the week. I read the article. But do you have an idea of what's next? You know, I thought you were very well thought in everything that you said. But what, in terms of when it's full-on career, right? Because doing TV while fighting is a little bit different than doing TV when there's nothing else. Do you have anything in the works that you can look forward to that you know is going to be something more stable in this career?
Yeah, so of course I'm going to keep crushing pushing the boundaries on the analyst side of it. I have a lot of fun. It keeps me involved, and I have a blast doing that, and I'll be able to really jump both feet in and not kind of tiptoeing on both sides as much, which makes it really hard. So I'll keep chasing that. And of course, I've said this to you, that at some point in time, there's going to be a space that's going to open up cage side. And when it does, I'll be more than happy to give it a shot and see if that's something that my skill set works at. I'm not like one of these other guys that's always calling for your job all the time, but at some point in time, there'll be a seat that will open up next to you.
You see all this? You see all
but there's a couple. There's a couple
of
business ideas that I'm kind of chasing that I think will scratch that competitive itch a little bit and just trying to have my own little baby to build and hopefully that all works out.
I think that's honestly the hardest part of retirement, right? Is what fills that competitive void. For me, it's the wrestling, right? Coaching that wrestling team, chasing something, because it feels like we always have to chase. Chael, what are you chasing? Anthony, what are you going to chase, right? I approach this job as that, like, get better, let's try to win, because we're all competing, right? But what are you going to do to try to, you got to chase, like not being able to chase something for an athlete or a high thinker like you, me, or Chael, it's very difficult.
Now, Daniel, you realize where Anthony lives. He is outnumbered by women 5-1. You realize it is a fight every day that he gets up just to get in the bathroom. Why do you think he shaves his hair? He shaves his hair because he can't get any time in front of the mirror with the brush. You act like it's not a battle being Anthony Smith.
Oh my God.
It's a fight every day just to be noticed sometimes, Chael. Sometimes you get lost in the weeds and everyone else until they need some money. That's when they figure out where you are. So they need something.
Exactly. Hey, Chael, could you wrap the conversation with Anthony? He's You just got to say, hey, guys, Anthony, thank you for joining us. Good luck this weekend against ZHANGMINGYANG. Say that, Chael, as we wrap.
All right, Anthony, I got to wrap this, buddy. We know you got things to do. I just want to wish you luck. Now, you know I stay out of your wheelhouse, and I'm one of your biggest fans, but I'm going to give you the great advice that Clayton Hires gave me, which was when you're in a fist fight, hit him and don't let him hit you. And by the way, I should give a shout out to your opponent, whose name is, in the words of The Rock, it doesn't matter what his name is, jabroni. We will see you in the Octagon Saturday.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys after.
Kaboom.
Chael, that was perfect because it doesn't matter who Anthony's fighting. This weekend is all about Anthony Smith and his retirement and what he's meant to the sport of mixed martial arts. But on the grander stage, right, the bigger picture, Ian Garry is fighting Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates is a monster, fighting nerd, undefeated team. Ian Garry is now becoming a guy that says, whenever, whatever. There was a time back when I was in college, Fresno State was playing anybody. They even put it on their field. Anybody, anytime, anywhere. The football team played anybody, and they played them competitively. Ian Garry now is becoming that guy in the UFC where you want to give me Shavkat? Okay. You want to give me Jeff Neal? Okay. You want to give me Carlos Prates? Okay. He's becoming that guy that steps up. But when you look at this fight for Ian Garry and you look at this fight for Carlos Prates, one, how do you see it? And two, where does it put these guys? Because it seems like Prates has an opportunity to propel himself into the top 10, and Garry could be right back on a short list of guys that could potentially challenge for the belt.
Oh, they're very meaningful for a title shot. That's a little bit loose language, but we just don't know where Rakhmonov is at. So when I talk about a title shot, I talk about in the absence of Rakhmonov. But now, that's the world that we're living in. By the way, and I do love the attitude of Ian Garry, and I am very impressed by that. But I just want to let you know, when you have your best performance, whatever that might be, and generally human beings, best performance will come in defeat. Where they go out there and they perform above their abilities. It'll be in a match that they lost. And they'll look back and go, I could have won that. I didn't know I was that good. I didn't believe in myself to that extent.
Yep.
I believe that Ian Garry is coming off his single best performance, even if it's his one and only adverse outcome. But when that happens, no athlete, no example, no sport stays stagnant. You either use that as a springboard into something, or you start to dip and talk about the good old days. Like, just for example, in our sport, but the guy you don't want to bet on is the guy that just lost, no matter how competitive, in a title fight. Anyone that's coming out of a title fight, no matter how close he was to winning the championship, his next performance historically dips. And I do worry about that with Garry. I don't have all the answers on Garry, but I've never had him. Like, I don't know who's in his corner. I don't know the name of his team. I don't know what country he's training out of, but that's always kind of been a mystery with Garry. He's always kind of been a nomad and floated around a little bit. However, we are starting to see the importance to momentum for a team, for a group of guys that truly stick together. And we don't have very many of those. We got a bunch of super gyms where guys came up with some term called training camp, which means I get 2 minutes away from my family to go see my mistress. That's what training camp truly means. So then you get somebody that actually likes one another, like the boys from Dagestan or these nerds. These fighting nerds are a real team. They really break it down. They're really all in for one another. And I do think that gives you a little bit of an edge, particularly over a nomad that's kind of just out there wandering like Garry. I actually like Prates in this fight.
Yeah, it's a tough fight for both guys. I thought Ian Garry fought better against Shavkat Rakhmonov because most people believe Shavkat to be just a destroyer. So they kind of thought he would do the same thing to Ian Garry, right? Beat him up like he beat everyone else. He had won 18 fights, 18 finish. But Ian Garry was able to fight him competitive. But that leads me to this. Like, Ian Garry is the guy that does have that momentum. He has that notoriety. He came in with so much hype and potential. Prates is building, but he's number 13. Ian Garry's number 7. He just fought number 1. Is it dumb, though? Like, I understand being a company guy, a guy that steps up. But at what point do you say, this doesn't serve me? Is it dumb for Ian Garry to be fighting back, especially against a guy who's riding as hot as he is, while he's coming off of a good performance, but Chael, still the first loss of his career?
That is an interesting question coming from you, because when I get asked this question, I will take people back to a time when a young man named Daniel Cormier fought a barista who had no ranking and no record and had never been in the company. The young man, Daniel Cormier, went out there, did what he needed to do, which was to look good and look dominant, and he went from beating an unranked, unmentioned, unspoke of talent to a world title fight. So I don't really agree. I know the very few people that hang their head in silence and post numbers every Tuesday by 9 a.m., which may or may not be an automated system. We really don't know. But I know that ranking committee loves to try to pull respect. They don't have any. I can go back to 125 pounds, where the last time we contested it, truly, the very last time we contested it was with a guy out of Japan who looked pretty flashy. He'd never fought in a cage. He had no ranking. He had never even stepped in the octagon. I remember the night that Jose Aldo and Ronda Rousey were crowned champion. They had never thrown a punch inside the octagon. I remember the night they woke Matt Hughes up to inform him that he was the champion of the world. So no, there are no rankings. This isn't true. You're the number one ranked guy, or you're not. There is no such thing as a top 10. There is no such thing as a top 15. You're number one or you're not. So 7, 13, 11, interchangeable mediocrities. We got lots of guys like that raising their hand on street corners. I mean, I'm not being a dick about it, but some of these guys are tattooing it on their body. I think Gary's one of them. He tattooed number 15. And then 2 weeks later was number 13. Now he's got to go erase that and change the digits. The whole thing's just weird, man. Are you good enough to get a title shot or aren't you? Can you beat the guy they put across from you or not?
Beat him enough times to get to ultimately the chance to become the champion, right? Point blank. And can I tell you something? It was very simple as to why I fought Patrick Cummins. I had cut all that weight, and I was like, man, I am not fighting. Like, it just, when you sacrifice what I had to get to 215 pounds, I was like, I'm fighting. There's no way I'm not going to. So, yeah, I fought Patrick Cummins. And I'm glad that I was a bit naive in that regard. Like, I didn't pay attention to the rankings. I just wanted to fight. And I think Ian Gary shares that same type of thought, where it's like, I'll fight the next guy. And, hey, Chael, what better way to rebuild your momentum than to beat the guy that has all the momentum? All the momentum, right? Right now, Prates and his team seem to be the guys that everybody's speaking of. Gary beats him. Gary's right back in position where he was before. Carlos Prates is an interesting guy, though. This dude said he smokes almost a pack of cigarettes every day. I mean, this man, Chael, I don't even know how people in this, knowing, right? Back when I was growing up, I was lucky enough, Chael and I were lucky enough to grow up in the 80s, where you don't just know the 80s. We know the 80s. We were born in the 70s. So we lived through the 80s in terms of a child. In the 80s, I was able to walk into a store and buy a pack of cigarettes for an adult in my life, which was absurd and insane that happened. But knowing today, do you remember, like, knowing today what cigarettes do to people, right? Knowing today what smoking a cigarette will do to you. It's crazy that when we were kids, the bubble gum, do you remember the bubble gum that was like a cigarette? And when you was kind of smoking, it would light up and it was like the bubble. You could chew it afterwards. It was like they were telling us to do this. But knowing what cigarettes do to people now, the fact that anyone smokes cigarettes to me is crazy. But Carlos Prates, a high-level athlete, is doing it almost a pack a day, Chael. How concerning is that, being that he's never seen a third round, and he's got a 5-round fight against a guy that just went 5 rounds with the number one contender in the world?
Well, to your point about the damage, it's not really up for discussion. They put it on their own package. Like, they put on the package, this isn't going to help you. Daniel, I do wonder, though, as a wrestler like you, man, I've been to the locker room and seen Kazushi Sakuraba smoking cigarettes right before he walks out to fight Vanderlei Silva. I see some of the, particularly Eastern Bloc and the wrestlers, and they're having cigarettes in the locker room while the rest of us are doing jumping jacks and getting warm. Like, it's a different deal at times. I don't see a lot of it. I don't really understand how that science works, but I will tell you, I'm not completely unfamiliar with it. And by the way, does he really? It seems like a weird thing to do. Like, I drink a lot of Coke or a lot of water, but I've never done an interview and talked about drinking Coke or drinking water. I'm just saying, I don't know that if he really did it, he would come out and do it. If it wasn't a gimmick, I don't know that he would talk about it. I don't know that I believe him. I don't know that I think he's smoking these cigarettes.
I mean, this dude, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Guys,
They're good, man. These nerds are good.
they're good. They're good. And I think that maybe like, plus also got like most of these guys have these histories of they come from like really nothing. Like, so maybe when they're younger, they started to smoke cigarettes. And now he's like addicted to it. I don't know. And he does
Remember that
smoke cigarettes.
boxer? Damn, remember that boxer that was doing, he was blowing the smoke in De La Hoya's face and then he brought
I
a machete?
know who you're talking about.
He
His
brought a
name was,
machete on stage. He had a
he was the
machete and a
Mexican dude. He was
cigarette.
the Mexican dude with the tattoos
Yes.
all over his own. What was his name? Boy, but then
Mayorga. Mayorga.
Carlos Mayorga. And then he got it bad, though. He got it bad whenever he lost. He got it bad. Yes, Mayorga. He was out of his mind.
Yeah, De La Hoya could box, though, man.
He was good, man.
De La Hoya might be fried eggs now, but he could squabble back in the 90s.
He was good, man. He was good. He fought Floyd Mayweather good. I went to Vegas to watch that, and then because it was so expensive, I watched it from the MGM Grand. They in the arena, they had 15,000 of us watching it on screens.
Oh, wow.
Because they were fighting at the Mandalay Bay. 15,000 people watching it on screens to watch Oscar De La Hoya fight Floyd Mayweather. That's how big boxing was at the time, Chael. So, yeah. Hey, man, you need to go deal with that guy that's trying to, like, hack you and stuff right now. So, I'm going to let you go because...
That's a
right
very
now,
nerve-wracking thing. In the world of cryptocurrency, when he's showing you your wallets, it's a very nerve-wracking thing.
I can't believe you're doing this show. I would have been a mess. Not only I would have been a mess, and I'd be so nervous and concerned that someone would have to grab me for me giving him too much money to stop taking my little bit of money.
Can I tell you
that's
something?
how nervous I would be.
Can I tell you something? He told me as a way of proving his power. Now, right now he's being really nice, but he's still showing me his power. He told me he was going to join this show.
Oh.
He told me that he was going to come in and infiltrate through the control room, which it's one of the reasons I disclosed right up front. I meant to tell you that part. I don't see him here. I don't see him in the window.
Hey.
Right? Maybe ESPN's a little too good for him, but he said he's planning to. He said, "I'll see you there." That's what he said. I said, "I got to go do a show." He said, "I'll see you there."
If he came on this show, they had better get if he came on this show, they better get that button to edit me out because I'd be just hitting him with cuss word after cuss word. You dirty beep, 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 beep. I would make him cry with the language I would use to talk about him. But, let me let you get to that because, it might not be a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It might not be a beautiful neighborhood. It might not be you're draped in that cardigan for comfort right now. Guys, we will see you on Monday. For Chael, I'm DC. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.